Hey everybody, I'm that girl Goddess. First, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. I'm talking about the wars in America. I understand we going through a war, overseas with Iran and the UK and various other places, and even the attacks, and we had lost some soldiers, which I want to first thank them for their service. And we have to continue to pray for the people that's on in the military whose life is on the line on the behalf of keeping our country safe. Now, I want to talk about, because in the last day the Bible tells us there will be many wars and rumors of wars. Now, some of these wars I spoke about a while back and people didn't really, they nonchalant. People's not woke. And I'm going to tell you, there's many wars. It's the rich against the lower middle class and poverty stricken people. Okay, all the way down. I know it's people in between that. But we have no resources. It's like I left Michigan because of floods. The flood was all the way up to my second floor. FEMA gave me $2,300. My dinette set then was $40,000. And I don't use no illegal way or hustle or money like that. I was working two jobs. Okay. And I was married at the time. And we both invested in that. Okay. And I had a dinette set. And when we got married, I turned around and told him, I said, I'm going to do what it takes. I had got my income taxes, by me having children. I got some lump sums, probably about 5K or whatever. And within 4 years, we bought this dinette set. It was marble. Okay. 6 chairs, marble. It was the highlight of my house. I have a thing about my dining room. And when I say, when the flood came and took that dinette set, destroyed it, the marble was good, but the rest of it, the wood and all that, and the legs buckled and mold was everywhere. The china cabinet, it collapsed. Okay. I had china in it. And it was a pride of me to have beautiful things so my children can grow up with nice things. Yeah, my skin just peeling. And let me tell you, when that flood came, and I was in 3 different floods, and I was working hard for material things that I recognize now is just temporal. Not that I'm not going to have nice things, because I came down here to Georgia. I really didn't have anything. I literally stopped. The person I bought the house from, we literally stopped at Walmart to come here. Before we got here, and I bought, towel sheets and one of those air mattresses. Okay. And I had a little money in the bank, just a little bit, because I was working hard. When I say I was working 3 jobs before I left Michigan, that's what I was doing. Mind you, I lost a business because I had my own salon, started putting retail in it. I lost the cheers, the everything. And I put a lot of money into that. And it really hurts because I didn't take out no loans or anything. But when FEMA came out after the flood, it was one flood, never more than $2,000, no matter what flood. But across the street was a suburb city, Dearborn. These people got grants for everything. And they paid them, and most of their houses had benches in it because I'm Apartment Eastern. We were friends. I would go into their houses, these little wooden benches, and most of them didn't have too much of nothing, okay, in these homes. And they was giving them like $5,000, $6,000 plus, okay. And they just hustled the government for our grants that should have been for the people that was born in the United States. And I watched this, and then the third flood. So I bought this home, and I came down here, and the home was a hustle. They had pictures. The house was gold and brown. When I get down here, it's this ugly gray. Um, Let me tell you, the whole house need to be reconstructed. The wood is bad. They have rodent problems down here, and I'm not just talking about rats and mice. I'm talking about squirrels, raccoons that may come into your home. So I've been battling a lot of stuff and trying to keep things together. The floors was a joke. Everything. To replace everything. And I'm redoing my house and I'm keeping the faith. But I'm mentioning this because that's part of the problem of the war. The government supposed to be regulating these homes, and they overcharging for these houses and different things like that, and how they post stuff online, and it's totally legal. It's no one even going out to make sure that the houses really look like they look online, and a lot of people's being ripped off. But I thank God anyway, because at the time, Michigan weather, it was freezing, was sleeping in my car. I came out here in January. Let me explain something. When you have no resources and the government give you $2,300 for the loss of everything, refrigerator, stove, washer, dryer, I'm going to say right there, that's almost 20 grand. We're going to say 15 grand. Then my dinette set had it some years and years. And I tell people, even if it depreciated, it was at least 20 grand. We're not even going to talk about the beautiful living room furniture and my bedroom set. My mattresses alone cost almost 4 grand for the box spring and 4 grand for the mattress. I always love quality. Okay. And I tell people that's a war right there in itself. When they look at your loss and everything you have in your household, that you only need 2 grand. Not saying that you done lost all your clothes, everything. And that's a war against the poor people. People say, how? Because if they can give foreigners grants that they don't have to pay back, how can they treat people stuck in catastrophes like trash to make you beg and grovel? And minimum wage is $7 and some cent. The hard-working people, you have no life. You can't take no vacation. You have to work 2 jobs. How is that not a war against human beings? I'm not talking racially, but against the poor. You have no opportunity. You have no voice. You got to work for these low wages. They talking about they put minimum wage up to $15 an hour. Half the businesses are closing as a result of them giving funds to foreigners that have no love for the United States. So you got foreigners coming over here warring against the United States. And now the ones that came over illegally and was doing all this fraud, just because you want to send them home, they have a war against us. Because a lot of them are Mideastern. It's not just the Somalians. It's all these. And for years, I've been saying, why don't they shut down and keep, just say they not accepting any more immigrants over here because we can't take care of our own people. We're not providing for our own people, and they giving them all these grants. But what about the grants for people hard working, bought houses? They may need a roof to the house, but the picture they seen online was good. You know, they need flooring, plumbing work. You mean to tell me that they don't have grants for people here? I'm sorry. For people over here who work hard and contributed to their businesses being successful. We work at these companies, made them rich for pennies. While a lot of people look at, oh yeah, they had these Mexicans over here and they paid them this, they here illegally and they accept money $3 an hour, and people was laughing. I would say, well, yeah, but that's wrong. That's a war on someone. If they came over here legally, or even if that's a war. They still took money from people in the United States. That's a war against your wallet. Now they talking about they want to get rid of money, physical money, cash. And you have to go through all this other stuff so they can monitor everything. Then you better report every little, if you sell your vehicle, you better report it. Why should you report selling your vehicle when it's yours? You paid for it. And they trying to act like you gained something. No, you didn't gain nothing. You spent more money buying the vehicle. And just because you sell it for a much lower price, how is that gaining something? But the rich is that petty. They look for every little nook and cranny. But they have all kind of financial fraud and embezzlement and sex trafficking and everything else going on. But we don't have a voice because we're the small people. That's a war when your voice don't matter and you have freedom of speech. You have the right to vote. Okay? It's wars also. And I tell them, you pay property taxes, but in neighborhoods that is not like a upper middle class or, probably a middle class. They don't care if you have public services, but they pull a paycheck. They don't care if the streets have big potholes because it's your city and you're not middle class or above. That's a war on your rights, especially if you pay property taxes. You buying a home, they supposed to pay the property taxes. These people, they're not paying these property taxes. I found out, oh, they didn't pay the property taxes last year, but I sent in mine. It's a war on everything. And that's what I be trying to tell people. Oh, it's not what you think. It's a war on your money, too. To keep you from enjoying your life, fixing up your life. We gonna overwork you. Now, with all these restaurants and stuff closing, because we all know places like McDonald's, you ask for a meal, it should be like fries, sandwich, and that. It should be no more than $6. Man, you go down there, you'll get a nugget meals with the fries, large drink, and you're paying almost $15. Don't use DoorDash. And I'm saying something because it has to come a time when someone speak up about the many wars within the country. Okay, you got foreigners come over here that hate us. We warn against them. They get the top of the line stuff. They get paid this. They get on public assistance. They EBT card with 1, 2 people, and I seen this, 3, 4, 5, $6,000. But the people here, they expect a senior citizen to live off of $23 a month. They can't even get out to go to the churches. Then they want to take their driver's license. I can understand if you take the license and they really can't see or something like that. But they're making it so stressful. Then they want to regulate the way we drive. Even if they said, even if you go through a school zone and the sign says between these hours, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour, and you're not doing that, or you drive 25 miles an hour while the lights is flashing, they say they still give you a ticket. And then the tickets are so extremely high. They just want to take away your right. But how can you get to work? You got to drive far out. And then the car lots, they're selling you lemons. And nobody's regulating nothing when it comes to especially poor people or below 150K, 75K. Okay? Nobody wants to hear your voice. All the hatred you get in America. I've been saying the Democrats. Because if you ask me, their whole agenda was just a gay agenda. They want to mutilate kids to change their gender. If you say something against them that's not a part of that life, somehow it's a crime to be straight. They don't want you to preach Jesus, but they can come over from other countries and have all kind of pagan gods and crazy religions, and no one intervenes. But we supposed to be about the welfare of the people, and some people's religion is voodoo, witchcraft. But witchcraft supposed to be illegal. But then when you look at all these entertainers, all you can talk about is the rituals. But isn't that illegal? It's a war on serving God. It's a war on Christianity. Okay? It's a war against being straight. They can say anything about you, but you better not say nothing against them. It's against the law for, pedos on children. SA against children. But you got all this entertainment and Epstein files, allegedly all this stuff going on. But they try to protect it. But they'll lock you up if some kid lie on you and say you did something, and they'll lock you up instantly and throw away the key. But somehow if you're rich, you don't have to follow the law. They got all these loopholes. But the devil is a lie. God is bringing judgment down. It's unfair to the American people to work 40, 50 years, and they keep raising the retirement age. You only have first 20 years you're growing up going to school. You spend 40 years, 40, 50 years working. Okay. And then you're 70 years old before you can enjoy any part of your life, which is ridiculous. It's a war against old people. It's a war against hardworking people. It's a war against straight people. It's a war against native born Americans. It's always been wars against people who have color to their skin versus those who don't. Okay? But the well-being of the people, these children that they trying to change their gender, be messed up for life. But they don't want to recognize that and make the surgeries illegal for the well-being of the people. I'm just saying it's a wars against just about everything. You go to the grocery store, you buy food, and the food is fake, chemically infested with stuff that can cause cancer and kill you and mentally strip you, mess up your whole body. And then they charge us extra great. The price of food is 3 times the regular cost where it used to be. And they turn around and say, well, we were bought to take down the price of eggs. Eggs? We're talking about all of it. And biochemistry modified, and chickens, they're no longer called chickens because they chemically raised and they got 6 legs, and 10 wings on them, and it's really destroying us. And all we want to do is eat a dinner. Then these restaurants, all this preservatives, so they can make so much money. And all of them are rich and billionaires. And they have all this stuff where they don't have to buy this food, and they make sure their stuff is good. It's a war against us, people in the United States. People are becoming unalive for their organs. It's a war against us having our own organs that we was born with. It's a war against people that's healthy because we looked at, oh, you went to the doctor. You now have to worry about your life. And now that a lot of Caucasians are figuring out that the rich don't like them either, that they just being used, they want to act like it's something major. But the truth to the matter is, the biggest problem is we have many wars against Americans here and pure hatred from the people that sit in politics. We have wars against education. We can't even raise our children. And then they want to lock them up. What? And you can't even tell your child to sit down. Teachers are quitting because they don't have no control of the classroom, but they can't give them a paddle. The parents can't even discipline the children. And you supposed to say, go stand in the corner. But a child is out of control. When you say stand in the corner, they going to say, no, and start throwing stuff. They don't let their own children act like that. I look at the people in America. It's time to turn away from our sins because we need God on our side. We need help as a society. Everybody can't go homeless. And I feel bad for a lot of those who's in tents and then the police harass them, and there's laws against that for being poor. Then you go to jail and you keep going, you're considered a felon and a habitual criminal. But you're really just looking for a roof over your head. You have nowhere to go. And the prices of property is ridiculous. I feel if you have the money to pay your rent, you should be able to qualify for the apartment. But no, you have to make 3 times the rent and have a certain amount over before you can qualify. Then they wonder why the real estate game is collapsing. They're making these homes 100, 200K, but they was made with cheap material. And I can tell you this because I was in construction and I know people that did this work. Them homes, the property, once you get into them, everything break. Everything's cheap, mega cheap. Them kids, they built those homes, them 100 and 200K. A lot of them was built from 8K, 5K. Just like a lot of mobile homes. America, I don't know what the solution is, but we got to wake up. Because it's wars against us in our country. Wars against other countries they want to take over. Wars against the rich. I mean, wars of the rich against the poor. Let me say it right. I'm going to leave this here. I want somebody to like, share, and subscribe because everybody got to wake up. Wake up. And let's find some real solutions. Okay? Bye.